Have you ever wondered what it really takes to bring those grapes from the vine to your table or into your wine glass? You'd be surprised. The journey is anything but ordinary, and it's a lot cleaner, smarter, and more fascinating than most people imagine. Across rolling vineyards, every grapevine is meticulously cared for throughout the growing season. That includes routine weed control, fertilization, irrigation, and pest management's all part of a careful strategy to ensure the vines produce only the best fruit. But there's also an emotional connection here. For grape growers, harvest season is the moment of truth when months of labor are put to the test. It's not just about quantity, it's about quality. One of the lesser known but most essential steps in the process is called thinning. It might sound counterintuitive, but farmers actually remove some of the grape clusters to allow the remaining grapes to grow larger, juicier, and more flavorful. If a vine is overloaded, it spreads its energy too thin, resulting in smaller, less sweet grapes. But with thinning, farmers make sure every grape that remains is packed with rich, concentrated sugars and antioxidants. When the grapes are perfectly ripe, harvest begins. The clusters are carefully picked or harvested using machines that gently shake the vines. These machines don't cut the grapes off. They simply vibrate the stems, encouraging only the ripe grapes to fall into collection bins. Once at the processing facility, the grapes are inspected by workers who remove any that are bruised or underripe. Only the best make it through. Next comes a gentle soaking bath, a key step that cleans the grapes while also making them plumper and easier to crush. The washing water is filtered and disposed of away from the factory floor to ensure sanitary conditions throughout. The cleaned grapes are then sent to a crusher, where the real transformation begins. The machine doesn't just mash the grapes, it gently breaks their skins, allowing the juice, often referred to as must, to flow freely. At this point, the must is rotated or turned multiple times a day to ensure even mixing and to let the flavors soak into the liquid evenly. It's a slow, rhythmic process that brings out the complexity in the juice. But don't be fooled at this stage. It's still grape juice, not wine. The must is then pressed to separate the liquid from the skins and seeds, filtered and screened to remove solid residues, and finally sent to fermentation tanks. Fermentation is where science meets artistry. In traditional winemaking, this is often done in large oak barrels. Yeast, either added or naturally present, begins feeding on the sugar in the juice, converting it into alcohol and releasing carbon dioxide. This gas doesn't just disappear. It actively helps stir the mixture, allowing the yeast to work more efficiently. Fermentation can take weeks or even months, depending on the wine being made. Once complete, the wine is filtered, tested for quality, and transferred into hoppers. For precision bottling, each bottle is filled, sealed, labeled, and packed with care, then shipped out to meet wine lovers across the country. But grapes aren't the only stars of the show. In another part of the agricultural world, tomatoes are undergoing their own transformation into sauce. If you've ever wondered how pasta sauces like marinara, arrabbiata, or classic tomato basil come to life, it all begins on tomato farms, where rows of vine-ripened tomatoes wait for the harvest. Here too, timing is crucial. Giant mechanical harvesters sweep through the fields, shaking the tomato plants just enough to knock off the ripest fruit while leaving the green ones behind. These machines are fast and efficient, gathering thousands of pounds of tomatoes in a single pass. Once collected, the tomatoes are rushed to the factory where they're quickly washed and sorted. The fresher the tomato, the better the sauce, so there's no time to waste. After cleaning, the tomatoes are chopped and turned into a thick puree. What gives the sauce its real depth, though, is garlic. In many sauce-making operations, the garlic isn't handled by robots, it's done manually. Workers fry peeled garlic cloves in massive woks using long-handled spatulas, stirring constantly to avoid burning. The sizzling sound and the aroma. that fills the room is nothing short of mouth-watering. Next comes seasoning. Pre-measured trays of salt, sugar, pepper, and spices are added to the mix, and machines stir the sauce until it reaches just the right consistency. One small but meaningful touch sets some factories apart, placing a fresh basil leaf at the bottom of each jar. As the hot sauce is poured in, the oils from the basil leaf slowly infuse the entire jar, adding a subtle herbal aroma and flavor that elevates the sauce to something truly special. Meanwhile, across the production floor, pasta is being made from one of the most ancient grains, durum wheat. Regular all-purpose flour won't cut it here. Pasta needs a harder, more protein-rich base to hold its shape during boiling. The wheat is cleaned with sifters and air jets, ground into coarse golden yellow semolina, and then mixed with water to create a dough. It may start off crumbly, but under pressure, it transforms. The dough is fed into extruders, giant machines that force it through bronze or steel dies to create all sorts of pasta shapes. From penne to fusilli. For penne, the dough is pushed through tube-shaped dies and then cut diagonally to get that iconic angled edge. Once shaped, the pasta is dried in massive ovens under carefully controlled humidity and heat. This locks in structure, ensuring the pasta will hold up in boiling water without turning mushy. Finally, the dried pasta is cooled, weighed, packaged, and sealed into boxes you'll find on your grocery store shelf. Just like the wine and the sauce, it's handled with precision and care to ensure top quality. From vine to jar, field to fork, these foods go through a journey that's equal parts science and tradition. Imagine a golden liquid so pure, so rich in nutrients that it's been used for thousands of years, not only as food, but as medicine. Honey isn't just a sweet treat, it's nature's original superfood. And today, we're going behind the scenes to show you exactly how this miracle nectar is harvested, processed, and bottled, using a mix of ancient tradition and cutting-edge modern technology. From buzzing hives deep in the countryside to massive factories producing honey by the ton, this is the ultimate journey of one of the world's most beloved natural products. And trust us, you'll never look at a spoonful of honey the same way again. It all begins with the bees, nature's tiny miracle workers. When a bee egg hatches, what emerges isn't the buzzing insect we all know. Instead, it's a tiny, legless white grub that looks more like a gummy worm than a honeybee. These larvae are cradled in beautifully designed wax cells, perfect hexagons that form the structural heart of every hive. These cells are more than just nurseries. They serve as storage units for pollen and nectar and help the colony regulate temperature through the cold seasons. It's a masterpiece of biological architecture, built entirely by thousands of working bees. Out in the fields, these tireless insects fly from flower to flower, using their long black tongues to draw out sweet nectar. Each bee has a second stomach called the honey stomach, where it stores this nectar separate from its digestive system. After collecting enough, the bee returns to the hive and passes the nectar to a fellow worker in a delicate exchange that looks like a kiss but is really a precise science. The receiving bee then deposits the nectar into a wax cell where it begins the transformation into honey. Fanned by dozens of beating wings, the moisture evaporates from the nectar, thickening it into that golden substance we love so much. Now it's time for the human touch. Honey harvesting is no simple task, and those who do it well are equal parts scientist, artist, and daredevil. Wearing full-body suits, helmets, and gloves, professional beekeepers approach the hives with a smoker in hand. The gentle smoke calms the bees, making them less likely to sting and more cooperative during inspection. Using special tools, they lift each honey-laden frame from the hive, brushing away bees with the utmost care. The goal is always to disturb the colony as little as possible. Each frame is loaded into collection boxes, and believe it or not, Some experienced harvesters even work without protective gear at all, relying on calm energy and skill to stay sting-free. Once the honeycomb frames are collected, they're transported to a processing facility where the real transformation begins. The first step is to remove the thin wax cap that seals the honey inside each cell. A special machine scrapes both sides of the frame clean, exposing the thick, golden liquid. Some honey may start to drip right away, but most of it is still trapped inside the hexagonal combs. That's when the spinning machine takes over. The uncapped frames are placed into a high-speed extractor, which spins them at incredible speed, using centrifugal force to sling the honey out of the combs. Every last drop is collected and filtered to remove bits of wax and pollen, leaving nothing but smooth, raw honey. In one of our visits, we saw a Turkish-made spinner in action, Turkey being the second largest producer of honey in the world. The machine didn't just extract honey, it also cleaned the honeycombs, making them ready for reuse in the next harvest cycle. This efficiency not only improves sustainability, but also reduces waste. After spinning, the honey is slightly warmed to make it more fluid and easier to filter. Then it's passed through several mesh layers to ensure it's crystal clear and free from any remaining particles. What comes out is nothing short of liquid gold. The filtered honey is poured into large stainless steel containers, where it's stored at an ideal temperature until it's ready for bottling. At this stage, advanced automation takes over. Jars roll down a conveyor belt and are filled with precise amounts of honey by nozzles designed to prevent spills and waste. Then, airtight lids are applied, and each jar is labeled and packaged clean, efficient, and ready for the shelf. But we're not done yet. Some factories take innovation a step further by creating honey spoons, perfectly portioned servings of honey molded into spoon shapes. The honey is poured into food-safe molds made of plastic or silicone, sealed in decorative wrapping and packed into trays. It's a mess-free grab-gongo solution that's perfect for lunches, travel, or even emergency energy boosts. Just peel the wrapper and stir your Tino-sticky jars or dripping lids to worry about. And if you think honey is only meant for toast, think again. One spoonful of raw honey before a meal can help soothe your stomach, thanks to its natural enzymes and powerful antioxidants. It also promotes better digestion and gives a gentle energy boost without the crash of refined sugar. It's no wonder honey has stood the test of time across cultures as both food and medicine.